Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Stephanie Gondwe. I am the founder of Nkashiendi Women's Network. I am a Zambian-based business owner as well as a mother of an ADHD son. If you're new to my YouTube channel, please would you help me by hitting the like, subscribe, or share button, as well as, of course, leaving a comment on what you think about this video and just let me know what you'd like for us to continue to share on this page. So today we'll be diving into the topic of PR management as well as brand positioning, and not basically on an international level, but a Zambian level because of course, like I mentioned, I am based in Zambia, so my references will be Zambian based and maybe a little bit of international references here and there. So my video today is in regards to the current rise in, leaking of nude videos as well as a few sex tapes here and there. And I think this is something that as a nation we need to address, or even just as a business platform, it needs to be addressed just so that we can help people understand what branding as well as brand positioning and how it affects your business and of course the PR side of it. Now, a disclaimer, I am not a PR manager and neither am I an expert at brand management, but these are just some of the things I have learned over time with a few mistakes people make in business and of course just in general. So things like a sex tape, unfortunately, if you look at some of the ups and the downs of it here in Africa or in Zambia, if you may actually be a very, very bad stunt for your team or your management team or even just your brand because unfortunately in a place like Zambia where it is classified as a Christian nation, things like a sex tape will not go so well with a brand that you're trying to, of course, bring out there to the public. So, a little business advice for those of you that may or may not know what it's like to be branding yourself out there. First of all, when a client is looking at your business portfolio or when they're looking at just you yourself as a brand ambassador, they'll be looking at your past, your future, and your present, whether you like it or not. And that's the reason why even HR managers going as far as looking at your Facebook pages, looking at your LinkedIn pages, looking at all sorts of social media platforms that you're on because they want to do a little bit more research as to what kind of person that they will be involving in their business or in their institution. So something as serious as PR, I think, should be taken seriously, especially for people like celebrities, influencers, and anybody just trying to look at themselves as a big brand, because PR is definitely something that will help your brand grow and speaks for you and your brand generally. So, on the PR side of it, unfortunately, when something like that happens, it now gives the PR manager or the PR assistant a lot of work because they need to try and figure out a strategy on how to, you know, revive your brand. Now, not to say that no brand has ever been revived, but this is something that you definitely need to, think about every time you make a little bit of a mistake here and there. Because don't forget, when brands are trying to deal with you personally and they are trying to, involve themselves and have and bring you on board onto their companies and, campaigns and all of that stuff, those are the nitty-gritty details that go into play because of course they want the people that you are influencing out there to believe in what it is that you're selling or that you're advertising as a product or as a service. So let's say even if you're not all of these things and you are just generally an ordinary citizen here in Zambia and you're new in the market, just got off school, and you're looking for a job, unfortunately, like I mentioned much earlier, the HR is going to be digging deep as to what you have been doing in the past, what you have been doing presently, and what you have been doing, in the past few months or so. And when they look and they find things like that, because let's not forget, the media does not forget. Media does not forget, or rather, the social media does not forget completely. People always come with screenshots, people always come with screen recordings, there's all sorts of things where these things can pop up. So if your HR manager comes across something like a sex tape or something like, a nude, unfortunately, for a company or an institution, it could be a very, very bad way of representing them. So they will definitely not be looking at, employing you next to the person that is probably even less qualified than you, but has a more decent, if you may, past. So not to be judgmental, unfortunately, some of these things, in as much as some people may say, oh, we all do this and we all do that, depending on who you are and depending on the kind of impact that you have on social media or just generally, unfortunately, you then become just not like everybody. You are a totally different person and you're seen in a different light. So brand positioning as well as PR, super important for each individual looking into growing themselves bigger and widely, of course. So like I said, I'm not an expert and I am not someone that went to school for all these things, that but these are things that we have experienced with time and we have seen. And I remember speaking onto another page, like we were basically talking about a recent scandal that happened, and I was referring to how people don't understand what branding and PR actually is all about, because at the end of the day, these are the things that make you who you are, regardless of how you see it. Yeah. So in regards to branding, even the things that you post, on your social media, whether it's on X, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on Facebook, these are also some of the things that come into play. How are you representing yourself? How are you dressing? How are people looking at you when, they see all these things that you post? Are you posting anything negative? Are you posting anything that may be insinuating something? Those are some of the things that still, somebody needs to look at, and they, of course, make a conclusion whether as to not they can involve you in their company plans or if they can involve you as a brand ambassador. So that's just my quick advice today on brand positioning as well as PR. And I hope that even us as business women and men can take this into consideration as to how we present ourselves out there and how, of course, we look at things and how we come back. And don't forget, of course, when there's a scandal, your PR team obviously has to come and talk about what it is that they are going to do about it, whether they that's who you represent, they basically need to come and rescue you, which is a lot of work. So just a little quick advice, and I hope you and anybody else might find this advice very interesting or might find it very useful. So of course, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my page for more advice on business as well as everything else that's going on in the business community. Bye.